Yeah. Yeah. I know they mad for no reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Gotta move fast for a reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Oh, 700K, I'm selling a Bitcoin. Haters mad, but they listen to this one. More profit coming to my direction. You know me, I don't need a mention. I got the remedy, ooh, yeah. They don't just follow me, ooh, yeah. You say allegedly, ooh, yeah. You would subscribe to me, ooh, yeah. Staring at chart, drawing a line. Make a decision, you out of time. Huddling, huddling, huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. See on stage. On-chain revolution. Guns. Boom.
Welcome back to On-Chain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live on the On-Chain Hour, and it is the day before Thanksgiving. It is 2 days before Black Friday. It is about 5 days away from the 1st of December. There's a lot to take in right now, guys. There's a lot going on in the space, and I think there's a lot going on in December that we need to start talking about. We have to really start looking forward. The market is forward looking. Everyone's looking to the 11th. Well, why the 11th? Well, on the 1st, we get quantitative tightening done. But then we chop all the way to the Fed meeting where Jerome Powell comes out and he cuts rates 0.25. We continue the rate cutting cycle and we blast off to the new year. We have the Santa Claus rally we always wanted and always we get every year, it feels like. So I'm excited, guys. I'm excited. There's some stuff to talk about. There's a new token that just launched on Monad called Chang. Absolutely went insane off the bat. This was something that there's an NFT project connected with it. We're gonna get into all that for you guys, as well as what is happening with the rest of the meme coins and where the opportunity is. I definitely want to dig into what is happening on Monad. Monad is the hottest sector right now. Like it or hate it, doesn't matter. It is the hottest sector, and it is the strongest when it comes to things happening. There's nothing else happening anywhere else. So we're going to talk about that. A lot to kind of dig into. We do have something happening on Solana. We'll get into all that later. But without further ado, let's get the show started and bring in my partner, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up, dude? How you feeling with everything? I mean, you got Thanksgiving tomorrow. We're taking the day off, by the way, which is our first day off. I don't know. Forever.
Long time.
Yeah, probably since Christmas of last year, honestly. But yeah, kind of looking forward to that. And the market seems to be kind of looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, Bitcoin seems to have woken up a bit, right? I'm still, cautiously optimistic, but almost being under that $80,000 threat, 100 around there, heading into what is this? This is the last week, actually. So not heading into, we're here, pretty much the last week of November, which a lot of people were saying, hey, if our healing process is still going on in the beginning parts of November into the middle from October 10th. And it seems like they were possibly right, because Bitcoin is showing some strength here on this rebound. Now, of course, we need to see some sustainability, and going into December is going to be very, very important. You and I might have a little bit of disagreements on how maybe December is going to start, but nevertheless, we kind of end in that same area to where we both agree on for the year. So that's something, at least exciting to look forward to. And then to kind of distract us in a fun way, we have new ecosystems starting to pop up with Monad. Mega ETH had they're kind of raised that got really, you know, messy. I'm still learning more about that, so we won't dive too deep into that. But Monad seems to be really rebounding, and people getting wrecked that shorted Monad, you know, that first day, unless they got out at 2.5 cents, right? If they got out there, I think that was a great play. But you know, if they stayed in that position, probably nervous now, right? And then now you're starting to see some of the ecosystem stuff really come out with the CHOG token launch as well, which is also an NFT project. So there's a lot to get into with that. But you know, things are happening, which is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. You know, that's definitely been something that's been fun, at least. That's the one thing this market's been missing is opportunity, where the opportunity is. And we're seeing it right now with Monad, right? But let's dig into our first topic right now, which is Bitcoin. It just woke up. It does feel like going from 80K to 87K was a big eye-opening moment. Like that doesn't really happen. I mean, we're talking over 6%, 7% after being down 30%. That's huge, but hopefully this is not a dead cat bounce, as they say, the bounce that goes up before they take it down to 70K. I don't think that. I think the bottom is in, and I do think Bitcoin just woke up, and there's a lot of things that happen that could spark the next end of year rally for sure.
Yeah, 100%. You know, the excitement of having a rebound and getting through, you know, that, I guess, you know, the healing process, right? That's big. That's very, very big. And you know, getting past that. Now that doesn't mean that like we automatically get back to 100K right around the corner, but you know, inching towards that, I think, is the goal to finish the year. And we'll see if we can get there, right? But having good distractions, as in like new ecosystems and stuff, that's been vital. And I think I love kind of how we're going into, you know, this last stretch here.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, we do have Bitcoin right now. I said it, you know, sitting at 87,300. You have Ethereum sitting at just under 3K at 2,942. Tau just getting back over 300, I think, is a big deal. Solana sitting at 137. I do think Solana gets over 150 by potentially the end of next week. Agent Hustle getting continuous beat down. Merlin Chain with a huge dump yesterday. Apparently some whale just dumped a whole bunch of Merlin Chain, but then it got bought up 72% since 7 p.m. last night. Absolutely huge run for Merlin Chain. One of the strongest tokens of this cycle by far. Then you're seeing Sonic really still down by bear market. A lot of these coins are still down by bear market lows right now. ADA at 40 cents, Sonic at 10 cents. The S&P is having a good day today too, which is good to see. You have the Dow Jones up 0.6, the S&P up 0.5, and the Nasdaq up 0.6 as well. So you are seeing a little bit of stuff happening there. But overall, man, it does feel like we are due for a pump here. I can't imagine we sit in this grave that we've been in for any time longer.
Yeah, and I think people are starting to figure out a little bit of maybe what the Bitcoin sell-off was about, right? I mean, obviously there was, some I think tomfoolery that was happening behind the scenes, with these stocks that are associated with treasuries and Bitcoin and stuff, and saying that they can't possibly be added to the indices and stuff, and almost orchestrated sell-offs, right? Now we don't have final confirmation of that, but that's what seems to be like the puzzle that's coming together, right? And so it wasn't just all these ancient wells that like, oh, we don't, we think the cycle's over. It's more of a TradFi kind of manipulating our space, and to me that's a better result, because then what you do is you carry on with where your belief system is and all that stuff, and buy Bitcoin back up and those type of things, and it seems to be the case so far.
Yeah, for sure, it definitely does. So but let's jump into something fun here. So Monad Trenches feels like it's heating up. It really does, right? So when you're paying attention to the trenches of a coin, you need to pay attention to the price of the gas token. And right now, that price of the gas token is looking really good, sitting at 0.44. This is up, on the 24. I think since it launched, it's up almost 100% still. Monad does feel like it is strong, but it's only in the West. I feel like the East is not partaking right now on anything Monad.
Well, you have your selective people. I use GMGN and tools, so I can kind of see the wallets, right? Because I want to know who's holding what, or like what people are doing in certain coins. and I'll
Yeah.
see you know, some Mandarin in there, like instead of the address, you know. So I do see some of the East participating, but they are people that trade every day and just look for opportunities. It's not necessarily like communities kind of, you know, migrating over. And I think that that needs to be always a part of any new ecosystem's marketing plan. The East
Yeah.
has shown that, hey, look, when we flex our muscle, we can make number go up across the board, right? And so that's what I really like about what's going to happen with Spark. They have a complete separate team that focuses on the East, which is, I think, brilliant. And Monad will probably, you know, put something together for that, right? But, you know, Binance not listing Monad, OKX kind of ignoring it as well. It's almost kind of like this theme of the East saying, hey, you know, we're good right now. But number go up always does attract everybody that wants opportunity. So what they need to do, in my opinion, is, you know, maybe like what happened today. There was this coin that's associated with this huge NFT project on the chain. They crimed it up to 10 million. You know, that's, I'm not saying there was anything malicious with
Well,
it.
you are.
Kind of,
You're saying there was crime
I mean,
involved.
but no. So that's actually used as a term in the trenches as just like pushing it now. That's basically what they call it. You know, it's basically you know, whales behind it. I mean, let's not be naive. There's whales that are pushing this up. You know what I mean?
I know, but I don't think there's anything. You know, so let's talk about this. So the Chog team or whatever, it was an amazing launch, by the way. In my opinion, right? So what they did was they launched this 17 hours ago, and they basically said, you know, ignore that. That's bullshit. Someone just made it up, right? They let it die out. Had like no holders, you know, nothing like that. And then they came out. And, you know, 17 hours later, and they put the contract address, and it ends up being the token that was launched 17 hours ago. You know, and they came out yesterday and they said, hey guys, we're having issues with snipers and stuff like that. Like we're not going to launch this today. Launched it today, day 3 of Mainnet, and I think it was a great success. Right, you're sitting at $7 million right now. Probably have to give it a refresh because it definitely just moves so quickly right now. Yeah, so that's $7 million. This is an NFT project that is attached with it. You get a whitelist for holding the coin. I don't know, man. I think we got to get away from that. Like calling everything a crime and everything is
well, no,
corrupt.
I mean, it's I'm not saying that they corrupted.
I know,
but
I'm just saying the terminology needs to
the
change
lingo
when it comes to crypto,
probably,
because it's not going to help bring new people in when you're telling people, hey, there's crime. I'm not telling anyone to get in this either. I'm just saying like what is happening on the chain. But I just think that like what the way our terminology in crypto sometimes
it's the slang.
So it's so bad.
Well, and for a new person coming in, for sure, I agree with you 1000%. But it literally is the slang of, you know, pushing this up aggressively. Yeah, it's not saying that anybody's doing anything illegal in the back. They're like, you know, the team just needs to crime this up, and I do agree that like that lingo.
I don't know, dude.
It does need a change. But it is kind of. I mean, the trenches are cringy. Come on, man. You're like walking through and like that get stuck with the needle or something. It's dirty, right? But at the end of the day, you know, a team, you know, they're obviously this was a big part of their project. I expected it to be this volatile and this aggressive, and we're sitting at like 7 million. So I agree. I think that they did a really good job with launching this. And you know, once we both were doing show prep. Unfortunately, it did launch during that, so we missed it. But I didn't. Usually, I'll try to like hurry and maneuver and get some, you know, out of this, a little bit out of that. I just took a step back and I said, I'm gonna relax and let, you know, kind of see where this goes, and you know, not do anything, you know, anxiously, because nothing good happens with that. You know, cooler heads always prevail, and that's my mentality with it.
I still want to though. Like I saw it at 6 million. If I wasn't doing a show, I probably would have sold down some nads and got in. But I still love nads. I still love my nads on both of them. But no, it did kind of wipe out a lot of liquidity. I mean, you're seeing GoNad now down. Oh my god, 223. So you are seeing a lot of liquidity right now kind of get taken up. But I do think this ends up bringing liquidity. I think like a lot of people now, I think we have a viable meme now. I mean, I'm not saying Nads wasn't, but I'm just saying like this is going to have an NFT project. This is obviously the chosen one from the Monad founders and stuff, right?
Yeah. So It does kind of remind me of like the base situation when they first started to get memes on base. Brett was kind of that chosen one with the cabal over there. They pushed that up really high, and then there was a community coin like called keyboard cat or something like that.
Yeah.
It ran up to $130 million market cap, right? So I do look at NADS as more of like the organic community. You know, it was chosen by the broader,
It was,
you know, monad community and organic new participants and those things. It's more of a CTO versus something that's centralized and controlled in Chog, right? Because they're doing airdrops with Chog. They're doing a lot of stuff with Chog. Chog will have more of, you know, the probably founders of the chain infrastructure support builders and stuff like that. But NADS can be one of those special tokens like Fartcoin and stuff that was CTO'd where the community was like, you know, because I'm sure that like a lot of the community is going to feel like if they missed Chog, if you missed it by like a couple minutes, it's already at like 3 million. They'll feel like, okay, well, I was pretty much, you know, didn't have a shot at that. And I think it gives more people an opportunity at NADS, but both, you know, probably do well. And with Chog, probably, obviously, you know, they're trying to make it a statement here.
Yeah, 100%. One thing about Chog though, I love the website, right? You have the Chog and it's like here and like you know, about Chog, really explanation of what's going on. They have a video all about it. You know, get the swaps right here. You can come here and you can swap tools, right? You can come here. They got PFP makers, meme makers, a messenger where you can send. I can send like NFTs from one wallet to another, and it's like a message in the NFT, which is really cool. And then the team. This is why I'm so bullish on this, because look at this team. Yeah, Big Chog community team, and you have Yacht, Mamimo, Ping, Benja. This is like the main guy. His Twitter account. Toad, Novi, Tanashiro, Venti, right? But I guess the real question is like, who knew about this prior, right? I want to see the buys prior to the Twitter announcement, right? And kind of see
that's where I think it separates from like an organic opportunity of getting into something like NADS day one when it was clearly the winner before Chog, which was launched by a team, right? Whether you like that approach or you don't, it's still a legal and fair approach. You know, so I think that kind of puts it into like the leaders probably are going to be there's one that's backed by a team and one that's an organic community one, right? So we'll see how it goes. But the one thing I will say is that Monad has really changed some minds of you know, after the first 4 hours of everybody really kind of stomping on it and you know, writing it off, saying that this is a scam and all these things. We even had people coming in our chat, you know, saying it's a scam and all this stuff. And now it's starting to build TVL up. And this is what we need. We need stuff like this. It's been fun for you and me, right? I mean, I will say though that you know, the trenches have changed in terms of the market, right? So you know, being in like some of the early winners in 2024, you sleep pretty comfortably, but even today, like you're still kind of, you know, okay, you know, how do I play this every minute or whatever? But then realizing that, hey, this could be a turning point as well. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting, and there's going to be more opportunities as well within this ecosystem and others too. I truly believe that Spark's going to have something for us next week, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and you mentioned something, right? The TVL has grown up a lot. You see over $100 million now on TVL. You know, 60% of that is in Uniswap. Then you have some, you know, other ones, some Upshift, Gearbox, Morpho, Curve, Sega Swap, Pancake Swap, really just with a tiny bit with 2 million, and some other ones as well. I'm looking at the ones with like one chain, because normally what happens is there's a lot of opportunity. The ones with the one chain, right? It does look like what is that one? Damn, what was the one called? It has like a marketplace too, I guess. I can't even find it anymore. It's like
what do you mean?
Kuchu or something. That was like the first exchange that we used.
Kuru. Kuru.
I don't even see it up here anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what happened to Kuru. But it was up here. But it does look like the TVL is growing. So it's strong. 125 million, 180 million dollars in stablecoin market cap over here already. So you are seeing a lot of volatility. I don't know. I'm definitely interested in Monad, man. I think there's a lot of opportunity over here. I came over here originally to kind of, just kind of play around and kind of, want to see, but they might have gotten a community member out of me, honestly, like for the long haul, because I get the early days of Phantom vibes from here, right? The early days of something that could be something special. Obviously, Phantom wasn't special at the end, so I was struggling along there, but I did make money there for a while. I just didn't get out on time, and I do think there's gonna be opportunities here, a lot of them, and to kind of push up. But it really depends, I guess, on that number one token. It really depends on how Monad does, right? Sitting right now at around 4.4. If this token can blast off, we can get this to 6-7 cents by Monday. I mean, I feel like there's a real opportunity when it comes to the trenches.
Yeah, and also the timing too, right? The timing of their launch, it could do very well for them and the market, right? The participants, because not a ton of people have been paying attention to the trenches or DeFi necessarily. Yeah. And so if you were, this is something that could finally pay off for you, right? Like you haven't been able to see too many payoffs the past 6 months to almost 12 months, right? So that's why we always say it pays to pay attention. This could be one of those moments where it really does pay to pay attention, because let's say that Bitcoin does take off to 95,000 by like December 5th, right? And now we're starting to go back over 100, and this new emerging ecosystem is starting to see more liquidity continuously flow in. The price goes up, we get to 10 cents, we get to 15 cents or something there. It's going to help the entire ecosystem. And one thing I will say is that it took them a long time to build this, 3 years. But when they did launch, they were ready. Their integrations with every type of bridging has been there. Their projects, are ready for perps projects, for all types of situations. It seems like they're very ready. So we'll see if they can, continue this momentum, because I will say that, they have to continue the momentum, right? Like it would not be great if the Mon token were to slide back down to 2 cents or something like that, right? So sure, can it bounce back from 0.048 to 0.039? Yeah, that's a kind of a pullback, but then like have that next leg, right? That's what I think people are going to expect, and they have a good possibility of that because of the way they did their tokenomics. And I think it was really smart that they did their circulating supply and initial market cap lower, to have more of the ceiling and that volatility to the upside possibility if the markets do correct in the uptrend to finish the year.
Yeah, so basically you're saying is the Mon token needs to continue to go up. We need to see more volume come into these meme coins, right? We need to see volume kind of come into some of the NFTs. If we can get those three things, do you think this could be a huge success? Like what to you would call Monad a huge success, let's just say in February?
If it takes the attention of the mind, majority away from Solana and
meme coins
and BSC. Yes, meme coins, yeah, but also just kind of like, man, it's the hot new thing. It's the tech is great, that type of thing. I think NFTs would be that last hurdle though, or that last thing. If they can capture an NFT market and these where we are, then of course, they're doing something very, very right. But that's going to be really hard, in my opinion. But if the meme coin captures doable, and then just getting some really cool activity type projects going, they have their predictions market, and to be honest, with predictions markets, it's been a broad across the entire Web3 space that Poly market is popular and all these things, but I don't hear too many people that are native in the weeds like us every single day, constantly using predictions markets. But if there was one on chain that was really in your face, like what they seem to have, that could change, right? So that could change, and they have a product that could do that. So, they have all the tools there, right? And the one thing that they're lacking is the East. So, we'll see how they can manage with that.
That's one thing, but we all know the East comes when number go up.
It does.
Like these big whales, they don't like to miss out on opportunity. And if Binance is sitting there and it's not letting the bigger whales come into their chain, they're going to go and use other chains that have it, you know, whether it's BitGet or you know, Bybit or something like that. And then they get their token, and then potentially we could see runs. And I saw someone talking about, I was like Trayvon from the Hex community. I'm a part of his members group for whatever reason, and I pay $1 a month. But he was talking about, you know, back when, you know, Binance Smart Chain first came out, it came out like Monad did. It came out super strong, and it had doubled in the first day. You know, it had an insane run up before a pullback. He said the same thing happened with, you know, a lot of the early chains, right? A lot of, they all came out really strong. And he said he hasn't really seen anything like that since Monad. And he's even like, you have a lot of the, you know, the really degens, the people who invested in Hex and Pulse Chain and really on the outskirts, kind of looking at Monad right now, which I thought was really interesting when I saw that. So that's really eye-opening too, when you do see, you know, the people who made a lot of money. I mean, Trayvon probably set himself up for life with his Hex investment, right? So alone. But he's somebody right now who's putting money in the Monad, the actual token. He's not messing with the trenches. He's not a meme coin guy, but he's doing DeFi. He's you know, supplying liquidity and, you know, then that type of stuff. So, but he's airdrop hunting as well. He's trying to get you know, in that area. So who knows?
Yeah, and Arthur Hayes obviously posted, you know, that he took a long. I actually think that was the ultimate play, was knowing the circulating supply, knowing what they're pretty much going to be starting off with their market cap being in the lower 100. I think it was like 300 million or something.
Yeah.
Maybe 250. I don't know. Anyways, between 2 and 400 million is what they started with, and then catching that sell off, right?
Yeah.
Catching it at like the 0.025 and, you know, saying, okay, I don't think this is going to go below a penny or whatever. My liquidation price can be 0.005 or 0.006 or whatever while you take it that long position. So I'm sure there was, you know, people like him, more people like him that took advantage of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, let's get out of the trenches for a little bit and go into some macro just for a little bit. So no, I'm sorry. U.S. jobs claims came in at 216,000, below expectations of 225, which is good, right? We do want to see jobless claims kind of go up, which I know is kind of effed up to kind of say that, but we also don't want to see it go up too much, because then we start getting the R word, which is recession. Once people start saying recession, risk assets just go completely off, right? During any type of recession, risk assets pretty much go down 90%. But hopefully we don't get that. Last recession we have was 2008, so it's been a really, really long time since that point. But, you know, kind of looking at Poly market now to kind of get a feel of what that did to the Fed rate cut decision, and it didn't do much. Down about 2%. It looks like it's a 1%, but yesterday I remember seeing 85. Today we're seeing 83. You know, it did. You know, nothing happening with 50 basis points. Nothing really happened with no change. It does look like we're getting a 25 basis point. And as we get closer, we're about 15 days away from the cut. Are you still feeling a 25 basis point? Do you think this is going to be, you know, basically a prophecy right now?
Yeah. I mean, once you're over 80%, right, heading into that next month, I think you're good to go. I mean, Poly market hasn't failed us yet, right? With that type of percentage outlook. So unless it switches to like, you know, 50% while we're in the beginning of December, but yeah, I think we're pretty much good to go there. And maybe, you know, we're seeing some of this rebound because of that as well, right? So
Yep. All right. Yeah, so let's jump out of here and kind of get into some. All right, November, finishing the month minus 20% as we speak, right? So let's take a look at this chart. We like to show this chart. Let me actually give us a refresh, because that was this morning, but I can't imagine that's anything different. But yeah, so whoa, there you go. Down 20%. So if I was going to give you 20% and ask you higher or lower going into Monday, would you say Bitcoin is negative 20% or higher? No, lower than negative 20% or higher?
lower.
Yeah.
I just feel like the tide's turning a bit here. And you kind of got me on that Thanksgiving tradition type of conversation that people are having here. So I do think it's gonna be lower, maybe not much lower, right? Maybe we knock off a couple percentage points, but lower. What about you?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think we can get this closer to 9%. going into Monday morning. Just for the fact that same thing, kind of what we were talking about pre-show today was, when you're sitting around the table and, everyone's sitting there and they're going to be like, oh, I got into NVIDIA. Because I don't think a lot of people know, but I was watching CNBC yesterday and someone who specializes in retail and she studies like retail investment. She said, it's been the biggest year for retail investors ever in the stock market. And she said 90% are using some kind of leverage in their accounts, whether that's, options or whatever else, or borrowing money from the bank or something to kind of get into these assets. But she said one way or another, most retail is using leverage, and it's insane. That's insane. And then on top of that, the biggest year for retail investment since 2021. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. Because we're not seeing any retail enter the crypto markets. But I think Thanksgiving could be that, hey, listen, like crypto is beaten down. Like, I think you're making a mistake. Maybe sell some of your Tesla, sell some of your NVIDIA, so your Apple, and kind of get some Bitcoin, get some Ethereum. Ethereum's 3,000. I think it's going to 15. Oh, you think it's going to 15? Solana's 140. I think it's going to 300. Oh, I mean, that's 100% for me. I'm getting 15% in the stock market. So I think you're going to see a lot of potentially a lot of money on Friday when the stock market opens, kind of maybe move to some crypto assets. I don't know. This is just me being hopeful, but this is the kind of mindset that I think the world has right now. Is just, it's so like, you need to be told, you got to have people. People don't come up with their own ideas. I feel like other people kind of give people the ideas and then they run with it. And I think that happens on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, with mass media distribution, it's always kind of worked that way, right? And I can see, the people the retail players that have somewhat of a handle on, I actually think it was probably pretty easy if you traded options this year, right? Because you can pick those top 10 stocks, get margin, right? So that's their version of leverage is the Robinhood or whatever platform will give you margin based off of your collateral, so they get kind of like this multiplier as well. And then now they can trade Apple, NVIDIA, all these other stocks that they couldn't really afford too many shares necessarily with what their original capital was, right? And if they did that correctly and they did let's say like a 3-month option turnaround, looking pretty good, because almost every quarter, like, they're going up or down, I mean, like you just have to play where you swing it. It makes sense, right? But at the end of the day, people are trying to make as much as they can, right? And I think that's where, that's one of the reasons why I have friends that use margin. He does very, very well. He's also a brain surgeon, so he's a really smart guy, right? And has discipline and all that stuff. But in terms of our space, the people that were using leverage in our space were the degen us, right?
Yeah.
The degen native hardcore believers in Web3 that stuck around. And I did see a options product that's going to be launched on Hyperliquid, so that could be something that could draw in some of these retail people that do it on the TradFi side as well.
Yeah, I can't see retail that are investing in like Apple and stuff actually jumping into Hyperliquid, right? I feel like that's such a barrier of entry right now. I feel like it will get easier in time, especially with these wallets that are doing it, right, with MetaMask and stuff like that. But I think that's such a huge barrier to have them come into Arbitrum and then bridge to Hyperliquid. You know what I mean? I just see them actually just using stuff like Coinbase and buying stuff like, Hyperliquid, when I guess it's not there yet. I guess, Monad and stuff like that, I guess. I don't know. But we got a question here about Monad. What a name here. W Space Pirate Cobra. Wow. Okay. He says, can you please talk about when the rest of the coins will be released? I think we have 1 year left for Monad to flood the ecosystem. So I just put that in my chat here, and it said total supply is 100 billion. On November 24th, 10 billion will be released. And
that was yesterday launch day.
Yep. So 7% of the supply and 3% of the supply. So that's already out. And then it says team allocations 21%. That's on a vesting schedule of 3 to 4 years. So they actually don't get anything for 3 to 4 years, which is crazy. And then investor allocation 19% has a 1 year cliff. So the investors actually don't get anything for 1 year. And then the treasury can't touch it for 1 year. So it's looking like you have about 12 months before any really new coins enter the market when it comes from investors, team, and anything else. So you have about 12 months at this. So I don't know, dude. I think that's perfect too, because it's like I'm kind of expecting a huge pump next year from every asset in crypto. So and then Monad could be a huge winner.
Yeah, and that definitely gives you enough time, right? I mean,
yeah.
until that vesting schedule starts to leak out the allotments. And so, yeah, I don't see any concern for that, right? But I would say if you are looking for like a long-term type of situation, just know the schedule, know the, distribution and release and all that stuff, right? Because, we go into a hardcore bear market, this thing could, start to go down as supply gets released, right? And stuff like that. So I don't think that, I think they knew kind of that could be a big possibility. So I'm pretty sure they were smart enough to kind of still have some sort of buffering of that, because you don't want situations like ICP that started like crazy high and then everybody's been down only because they were excited about the tech. They didn't look into tokenomics, all that stuff, right? But I agree. I think we have enough time for Monad for you to do some make some good profit with it on financial life.
Yeah, man. For sure. Then the next thing's pretty big, and it's in your state. So Texas buys the Bitcoin dip, acquiring 5 million of BlackRock's IBIT spot ETF and allocating another 5 million for direct self-custody Bitcoin. This recent purchase appears to be the very first one for the state of Texas via the Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve under the new reserve plan that was about 3 months ago. So it's been about 3 months, I want to say, since this went through, and it does look like they were kind of waiting for a dip here. Whoever there is advising the state of Texas is doing a really good job. But we do know some of the biggest miners in the world are in Texas, right? I mean, Texas has about 30% of the hash power alone. So there definitely is a lot of Bitcoiners in Texas. But how do you feel about your state buying the Bitcoin dip here? $10 million. Small buy.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? But it is, refreshing to see them do what they said that they were going to do, right? And Texas has always been a big, mining state in terms of in supporting of digital assets, and it's just kind of the whole belief system, I think, is kind of like, create your own success type of situation, right? And so, we'll see if any other states follow this. Some of the states might be a little bit nervous, right? Because of what's been happening with the price. Unless all these politicians are kind of in the know here and say, hey, it's time to get cheap Bitcoin. So,
and a lot of people tell you, this was manipulated down, right? For a reason, who knows? Maybe 1010 was an orchestrated attack. And then, because they knew that they would have to sell down assets to fill the holes in their books, right? And this, seeing at 80K, that might have been, say, hey, we're going to get it down to 80K. Just everyone be patient. And it looked like with 80K went to 87 for a reason, I think, right? It wasn't just retail buying that. It was institutions and states and, Texas, for instance, right? And who knows exactly when they bought this? It could have been a few days ago when it was, 83, 82. They're not coming out and saying it's the exact price they came out and bought it at. But I'm actually curious to see when the Texas wallet comes out and we can kind of start tracking it. But they bought the IBIT ETF, which is untraceable, right? And unless you have the account info. But yeah, I love this, and I hope this keeps happening. But Texas in the lead, and getting at 80K could be generational buy here. So
yeah, and I wonder if they try to do something similar to Wyoming and create their own stable coin as well down the line, and see how it involved with the broader space they get, or if it's just more of a Bitcoin strategic reserve and they keep it simple, right? We'll see though.
For sure. Well, speaking of ETFs, the Bitwise launches the BWOW on NYSE. It is a Dogecoin ETF. BWOW is kind of what they're saying here. So I don't know. TradFi funny is weird. Like BWOW. It's like, it's like your grandpa's joke here, but
seems like it fits the part, right?
Yeah. For sure.
But I mean, that's pretty big though. The Doge ETF, we've known it's going to come, right? So memes are getting credit even in TradFi.
The first meme with an ETF, Dogecoin, but you have Bitcoin ETF, obviously, ETH, right? And then you had Hedera and Litecoin. Well, I'm sorry, you had
XRP.
Solana, and then so you had Solana third, Hedera and Litecoin fourth and fifth, and then XRP, and now you have Dogecoin. You know, the next one they're saying is BNB. So VanEck submitted an S1 amendment, its spot BNB ETF, with plans to list on a Nasdaq, and they're saying this could actually get pushed in the first week of December. We could see the first BNB ETF. So we are seeing right now the top 8 or so coins. Hedera is weird. Hedera is like not, and Litecoin too. I guess they're top 20s. But you know, you are seeing some of the older coins with, you know, institutional investment kind of getting their ETFs.
I think the BNB one is actually a solid one that's gonna, you know, we've seen it have its rally and get to, I think, $1,300, which it was on this absolute like amazing tear of a rally that it went through in the summer to kind of get us to October 10th, and then it pulled back. But yeah, I think that's a really solid ETF product.
Yeah, 100%. And then Franklin Templeton, they're putting in their Solana ETF. So not only are we seeing new ones like Dogecoin and potentially BNB, but you're seeing a lot of these bigger companies, especially Franklin Templeton, who's been in crypto for a long time. Here, they're getting ready as well with their own. And you're going to see potentially, I don't know, over 100 new crypto ETFs enter the market in December is kind of what I'm hearing. Like 8 or 9 Solana ones. I'm hearing like 11 XRP ones are coming. That's from the XRP army they keep talking about. But I mean, they're all sitting there and just waiting for approval, and they're all kind of looking pretty good. So potentially we could see nearly maybe 100 ETFs enter before next year. I mean, I don't see how that could be bearish at all for crypto. I mean, now we're giving, you know, access to people who have, you know, same people that are buying Tesla and Amazon and Google and Nvidia now have can sell and buy within the same minute or two and just have crypto exposure right away. And these are spot ETFs, right? They're not like bullshit.
Yeah, and these are motivated, you know, consultants, salesmen, whatever you want to call them, right? They make their money off of commission. And the companies want to make money, right? So that's where their revenue comes from as well, or a big part of it. So you're going to have these groups of people. It's going to look weird too, because it's going to be like an alt season for them, right? And we saw what happened with the Bitcoin ETF. They're just constantly buying that up, and got it to 126, which you know, felt like it definitely could have got higher. But you know, some of these other coins, they're going to be looking at very, you know, closely, and the upside potential of them, right? So I think the biggest thing is going to be like, once these blue chips and established coins have their ETF, how do you determine, you know, what's going to be like the next hot ETF? Because there's going to be some new stuff that people are going to want to have that commission off of, right? Imagine like, you know, doing an ETF with something like Monad, and it goes absolutely crazy. It gets to like 50 cents, and you know, those reps for their clients, they're making good commission off of that. So
50x. I mean, no, what would that be? That would be a 10, 11, 12x. That'd be pretty insane. 100%. I mean,
Arthur Hayes said $100 for Monad by, I think he said
$100.
Yeah, I think he said
no, a dollar, right?
No. Let me see.
That's 1,000x, bro.
I know, but he gave it some time. I think he said by next bull run, I think. So okay, 4-year period or whatever. But he said
100x.
Yeah,
that means $1,000 investment today will be $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, but you gotta wait 4 years for it, right?
I mean, put $1,000 on down, bro. That's insane. I don't think that's possible.
Put the down payment down.
Yeah, but $1,000 turns into $1 million according to all three. So I don't know. All right, so Bitwise, you know, they just put in their BWOW ETF. They came out today and they were speaking, and you know, the advisor Jeff Park argues Bitcoin's 4-year cycle, halving cycle, is over now. Now replaced by a 2-year cycle driven by institutional fund manager economics and ETF flows. And he says Bitcoin is now on 2-year cycle, 2-year bull, 2-year bear, 2-year bull. I thought this came out of nowhere, and the only reason I'm bringing it up today because Jeff Park apparently is somebody who advises a lot of big players in the space, one of them being BlackRock. But a 2-year cycle, 2-year bull, 2-year bear, how do you feel about that?
Good. I feel like it's better. It's a shorter time period, right? But you were right, by the way. It was $10. He said $10, not 100.
Yeah, I was about to say, dude.
Yeah, he didn't say by next cycle, but he did say
still higher than
10.
That,
yeah. But going back to the 2-year cycle, I mean, we don't know how this ETF is going to change the flow of things. The gold ETF definitely changed the flow of gold's price and volatility and stuff like that. So I expect a change. 2 years, sure, but obviously we're gonna have to see how it goes. But
100%.
I don't think that traditional 4-year cycle is gonna stay the same. I just don't believe it. So
Yeah, man. All right. Merlin Chain. We talked about it in the very beginning of the show, but Merlin Chain had a weird sell-off yesterday. It looked like a WOW came in and just dumped this thing to about 20 cents. It is now sitting a closer to 40 cents right now, actually up 82%. And this all comes on the back of a something happened, right? But last week or whatever, and we can probably get confirmation of this on Monday with Jeff when it comes on the show. But on Monday, well, 2 Mondays ago, they did an upgrade to allow ZK movement from Merlin Chain. So Jeff wants to have Merlin Chain to be a pure L2 on top of Bitcoin. What does that mean? It means rolling up transactions and actually finalizing on Bitcoin the same way that you have base chain do it for Ethereum and all these other L2s, right? He wants to do that. So they have this upgrade to kind of get ready. There's many upgrades that need to be done for this, but this is one of them. I'm guessing something happened because they did have it upgraded again yesterday, which is very normal, right? But something happened with the price going into that, and today is it skyrocketed back up. But you do have Merlin Chain a mainnet upgrade notice. Merlin Chain will undergo an infrastructure upgrade to improve scalability and fix some issues related to the ZK performance. So this is going to happen very soon. Actually, let me get you guys the exact date so you guys know if anyone is trading on Merlin Chain right now to be aware that you won't be able to make any. The chain will be stalled for a little bit. Here it is. It goes November 26th from 5 a.m. Oh, it looks like it already happened. 5 a.m. is 2 hours. So 5 a.m. USD. So right now, I'm guessing. That's why. Remember I said Merlin Chain was suspended? It was because of this. That's why you weren't able to deposit or withdraw.
Yeah, that makes sense because then you'll get it lost, right? But yeah. I'll say this though, like this gets pulled off, they're gonna be, in the news and headlines and stuff because this is something that a lot of people have been wanting to do, right? So it's going to be interesting to see if they're using BitVM as well to kind of help process those Bitcoin transactions.
Yeah,
I love this though because look, I mean, it's kind of like there's so many people that like talk the talk, but walking the walk is the hardest thing to do with this specifically, right? Mm-hmm. Like being that official kind of layer 2 type of transaction. So I'm excited to see how this turns out, right? It definitely will spring them in the headlines.
And he's using BVM, right? BitVM, something that is being really kind of poured money is getting poured into this stuff, right? We're seeing a lot of investment in Citria. We're seeing a lot of investment in some of the other ones as well, right?
Controversy with the whole the op return data limit increase, right? That was for Citria. Citria wants to do stuff on Bitcoin, not necessarily change the op codes or anything like that, but they need more data availability to be able to put on Bitcoin to do with these kind of rolled up transactions and actually allow a layer 2 to be able to do that. And so, I'm expecting big things from them because they were able to get that soft fork or whatever you want to call it, the upgrade done.
And like Citria wants to be the optimism of Bitcoin, right? Optimism right now, obviously, if anyone don't know, they are the ones that are rolling up the transactions for Base. So every transaction that is happening on the Base blockchain technically is an optimistic roll up that's coming from the optimistic group or team or chain or whatever, right? They're the ones that are rolling that up on Ethereum. The same thing you're seeing Arbitrum do for Robinhood, right? Arbitrum's going to be that in between. When you're trading on Robinhood, you're technically trading on using Arbitrum's technology, and they're rolling up the transactions. Citria wants to be that, and stuff like Merlin Chain and stuff like are potentially going to be using the BitVM. But they took Robert Linus's idea, and they're potentially going to get it working. I don't think Jeff would go about doing this unless he knew about some, maybe some things happening behind the scenes. So really excited for that. So shout out to Merlin Chain, shout out to Jeff. Looking forward to having him on the show on Monday. All right. Yeah, this one. I was debating on even talking about this today, but
Did I put it in your DM or something?
No. This is the here it is. Conor McGregor condemns Khabib. He put out a tweet. He said there's just no way a good guy, Khabib, used his father's name as well as Dagstan's culture to scam his fans and fire sell a bunch of digital NFTs online and then delete all the content after they were sold, leaving his fans robbed of their money. There's just no way a good guy could do this. Talking about Khabib, it does look like Khabib was hacked. I mean, I doubt this guy even knows what an NFT is. I mean, he gets paid in goats, right? So it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like.
Well, he did respond to that comment,
Did he?
though. Yeah, and it was weird, like how to receive that comment. He said something along the lines of you always try to tarnish my name because of that night when I beat you and all that stuff. You can never do that. And he goes, yeah, what good guy could create digital products that have instantaneous value that they could share with their family and friends and all these things. And I was like, that sounds like you did it.
Did he do it or not? That's the question.
I mean, he didn't like. It was almost kind of like a weird response to where I couldn't really determine. It was like, is he defending NFTs and stuff, or is it? So I didn't really come to a conclusion on if I thought like he did it or not, because he was like basically calling him a liar, calling Conor McGregor a liar, right? So at the end of the day, people got burnt from it, and that sucks.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. Polygon's Foundation CEO says many users still recognize MATIC more than Pol. I hate Pol, by the way, and asks whether exchanges should consider reverting the ticker. I think this is the best thing I've ever. When I originally saw the MATIC for Pol, I hated it. I can't even I won't even buy it if it's called Pol. I hate it. It's always been MATIC. I hate. I don't know. I just hate change. I'm not someone big on change. Like I've known MATIC as MATIC forever. I mean, since 2020, right? And now I got to call it Paul. Like I don't even know how to say Paul. Like I hate
Paul.
But
Paul, yeah. I like MATIC as well, but it doesn't bother me as bad as it bothers you. But I just I'm not interacting with Polygon as much these days, right?
I'm bullish on Polygon right now.
I am too. I mean, they have a lot of good infrastructure partnersures. You know what I mean? Ones that we didn't expect.
India?
I didn't expect Polymarket. You know what I mean?
Or India.
Well, and I've always known it as MATIC too. So when they did change it, I thought that was weird. Like, I think this is kind of like a nothing burger though, in terms of but I would like to see it back as MATIC. Just kind of bring it back to the old vibes.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Hypercall, on-chain options, a venue for every asset on Hyperliquid. This is something you referred to earlier. And it said, it's Synapse Labs. They said, we've been quietly building something on new Hyperliquid. Here's the first look at Hypercall, an on-chain options venue for every asset on Hyperliquid. Over the past 6 months, we've been busy building this, and it absolutely looks great, by the way. I'm glad you guys ain't hearing this. It's like a TikTok thing, but
yeah, your volume just got really weird. It's kind of like you were in a bathroom.
Yeah, it's probably because
it
got so loud in my ear.
Okay, now it's good.
When I was playing this, but yeah. So you are seeing over the past 6 months we've been building. So what do you think? Options?
Love it
now.
Absolutely love it. I love it. Their UI is something I've been kind of calling for, right? For the space to create a Robinhood like call and put products for options, right? And now they already have options. People are going to say they already have Bitcoin and Ethereum options, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So first you need to open the product catalog more, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, go down the line, right? And then also we need some better date options, right? Option expiry dates, right? I think Deribit offers options and stuff. But and then also I looked at their bit. I hate their UI. I love that kind of UI. It's just very straightforward. You can select the asset, the product, the date, expiration date. You know what you're dealing with. And they're going to offer leverage because they already do that, right? So it's going to be, you know, in the options world, it's called margin. So you're going to be able to see how much margin you get. But I think that a lot of people are going to participate in these.
I do too.
You know, because it's you can sleep at night at least. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're down quite a bit, like you're not worried that like 3 a.m. in the morning your position is liquidated. You're like, okay, at least I have 2 more months. Let's see what's going to happen here. You know what I mean? Now people say, well, it's going to get drug out or whatever, but like anything can happen. And also you can get out of those options just like leverage trading anytime you want. So let's say it does rebound and you get back in a little bit of the green, right? You know, you still have a month and a half left. You make that decision. Okay, look, man, like I don't think the next month and a half is gonna be good. I get out. So for me, I just look at options as me personally, as a safer product than just straight up hardcore leverage.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think you're gonna get a lot of newer people, and I think the best part about this too is you're seeing like MetaMask and Phantom Wallet. Just hey, you can do it right from our wallet. Phantom put out an amazing dashboard that lets you do perp stuff using Hyperliquid's like backend, right? And I think if you can do that with options, you might be able to have people download an app, simple and easy, right? And then potentially load it up with, you know, using your debit card, your credit card, or whatever, and then do options from their wallet, from their phone. Because that there's no Web3 entry in that, right? It's just like, you know, you deposit cash in there, you're seeing able to cash balance, because shout out to Phantom for putting that feature in there already. And then you're able to do perps, and you're able to do, you know, and then you have Tesla stock, and so you can still do options on Tesla, and you know, technically there's no KYC. You're doing everything, you know, from your wallet, non-custodian, right? So there's no middleman taking a fee besides maybe Hypercall taking a little bit, right? So, but you're not getting these big billion-dollar companies just ripping you off nonstop. I don't know. I want to see the world go in that direction, and I think, you know, we had the tools now, and now, you know, with this new options platform and everything, I do think that we could potentially see a lot of new users start. I mean, it's going to start with, you know, the millennials and Gen Z, but as we get older, I think that, you know, that's going to be the new way of doing things.
Yeah, and you know, whatever version of this product that comes out, they're going to see the competition is going to see the success, and they're going to mimic that, which makes the products better over time, right? So we just needed to get started, right, into like a good UI type of situation. But yeah, and so you'll have perps, and then you'll have options, and some of the, you know, the reason why I think that they didn't introduce this initially was because they didn't want to let go of the control they had over perps, right? I mean, perps is man, it, like you can October 10th, right? That like imagine if options was live. I think maybe 30% of the people would have gotten saved by that, you know, because you can't liquidate them. You know what I mean?
You got to liquidate yourself, right? Unless you go to a certain time point.
Exactly. You can't close your contract, your options contract, and you decide when you want to get out, unless you hit the expiration date, right? Then you're forced liquidated or forced in profit, whatever, right? So it's going to change the game, in my opinion, in a very good way. But we'll see how many participants interact with it. I think it's gonna be a lot more than people expect. You know, I would choose it over perps any day.
Yeah, no, I actually want to start messing with it. And I might, you know, once Hypercall is up and running, I might just go over there with a few $100 and kind of just play around with it. But 100%. I got one last thing before we get into the Bitcoin price action. And it's your boy Ben Pasternak is actually in the news this morning, and he says announces a new AI startup called Agentic Labs. We're not the biggest fans of Ben Pasternak here, but he says, you know, excited to announce that I'm building Agentic Labs with Dominic Lopez. Agentic Labs is a newly launched AI company creating intelligent agents and automation systems for small, mid-sized businesses, starting with blue-collar and essential services SMBs. Our mission: bring enterprise-level operational power to the businesses that often receive the least innovation, yet form the backbone of America. We're designing AI agents that can run end-to-end workflows, eliminate manual processes, and eventually leverage next generation quantum computing. So right now, I have a buddy who works, for Verizon, and he was telling me that, there's a new CEO, and he's just, getting rid of all the supervisors and putting in place, AI. And so Ben Pasternak right here, he wants to take what Verizon is doing, analyze other companies, but they have huge amounts of money to make sure they get the best, and he actually wants to create that for smaller businesses. I think it's smart, right? But how do you feel about Ben Pasternak first, and then his new project that he's building? Doesn't feel like it's in crypto at all, though.
Well, he's been quiet. He's been quiet on X, and so everybody's been, trying to figure out what's happening. A lot of the Believe ecosystem projects are migrating away from them. There's a ton of horror stories about, the experiences, working over there. But I mean, if he's raising in the public sector, then the private sector in TradFi, though, right, as a startup, then he obviously can't do some of the things that he was doing over here, neglecting, promising this, not doing that, those type of things. And so me personally, I'd probably stay away from it. But he has talent, he's smart. He started a a fake meat chicken nuggets company that ended up doing well. Like, he made millions of dollars off of it.
Yeah.
And then he transitioned into the Believe ecosystem. But if he's just cutting ties without like any explanation, man, that's not going to be good. Right. So,
well, I mean, you could do both, right? At the same time, it's just a launch pad. At the end of the day, they usually run, seamless.
Unless he's doing it, he's choosing that project to be like the main, prototype for what they have for ICM.
And Jake said on the show, there's a lot of Believe, projects coming out and reaching out to him about potentially going somewhere else. So potentially, you might actually see them telling them straight up, like, hey, like, if you guys want to leave, that's fine, right? So, and their token didn't do well. It got, it got destroyed. So,
oh yeah.
All right, let's get into the Bitcoin price action and crypto bubbles. Excited to kind of see where you think Bitcoin's headed. We got Bitcoin sitting right now at $87,871. Looking pretty good.
It is looking pretty good. But before we get into the price action, as always, I'm going to ask you guys to help us out on the YouTube side. Smash that like, I should say, and subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on. All those great things that you guys do for us, and we appreciate you for it. On the X side, let's share the space. Let's get as many people in here as possible from X. Same thing with Abstract, Pump Fund Streams, Zora, all of our platforms, Rumble, Kick, Twitch, and what's that last one? I forget. It's the Spotify. There we go. All right, let's take a look here at some price action. Bitcoin is looking pretty strong. So some things happened that I was talking about yesterday that I was hoping to happen. And that was, us kind of coming out of sell pressure, right? So we'll start off here with the hour chart as always. And it's looking pretty good. Yes, it looks sideways, right? But we are having a pretty strong leg up here. We're pretty close to that $88,000 mark. You can see the MACD came out officially of sell pressure, starting this buy pressure, looking pretty strong with the second MACD candle here. And you can see we are, trying to pass that overbought territory, right? On the stochastic RSI, we're sitting right below that 80-point mark, right? Let's bring it in for some kind of support and resistance of where we are. And the support and resistance is showing support is really dominating, even in these lower volume areas, which is good because if we push up here, we don't really see what the resistance is going to be up here. But, typically if you kind of, don't have too much volume, you're not going to have a ton up here necessarily. You do have, those limit orders and stuff, but we could push up and really try to contest getting back over 88K. And hey, getting to 90 would be a huge accomplishment to finish in my opinion, to finish the month, right? We do have days to maybe do even more than that, but I think we got to take it step by step, and getting back over 90,000 is going to be important. Below here, support's really there until we get to like 87,700, and it's pretty balanced there, right? So I like where we are right now. Let's kind of see if we can have a continuation of this buy pressure. But yeah, we're looking good on the hour chart. Some chop, maybe with a little bit more of an uptrend is what I'm expecting here for the hour chart. Going to the 4 hour. once this loads up here. But yesterday, the 4 hours, something that kept me kind of from being, really bullish, because I felt like we wanted to close out of the buy pressure. And once this loads up here, I'll be able to show you guys, but maybe I can just change this up. Might be faster here. Doop. There we go. All right. Let me reset this though, so we can kind of see what's going on. Okay. Yeah. So yesterday, this 4 hour chart, I was a bit concerned because, it did look like it wanted to close up in this kind of start a sell pressure session, which I still I don't like how long we've been here. But this could open back up. We could see something like this. We could see something like this. And if that's the case, then we could, finish the month with the 4 hour chart being in buy pressure, right? We could see a continuation of this and open these kind of MACD candles back up, right? So really won't need to reverse this though and start to head back up if that's going to be the case. And getting to 89, 90,000 is what's going to get us there, really, right? So if we do have an aggressive push up on the hour chart, then that could happen. That could happen, right? Chopping sideways with back and forth, that's not probably going to do it. Us really having to get to that $90,000 mark is something that's going to open this back up and have an extension of this buy pressure session for the 4 hour chart, right? So that is what I'm seeing there. Let's go to the daily. Daily is another one that I'm really hoping that we do kind of switch momentum here, because we've been here before. We've been here in these earlier days right here, right? To where it looked like we were going to come out of it only to get reversed. But, I have a good feeling, knock on wood here, that we could eventually come out of this here in the next couple of days. And really start an uptrend, right? Even if we do sideways, that's okay, because we, an extension of sideways, not a fake out sideways like this or even like this. We need, like, if we do go sideways here, we'll see some uptrend if we go sideways, because it'll go up and then down, up and down. But we need an extended one, not this fake out sideways just with a continuation of the downtrend. So that's something to pay attention to as well. Now, if we do get hyper aggressive and to finish the month and in the beginning of December, we could just go straight into an uptrend. We could do that. I mean, it's happened before, right? But the first step is to close out this sell pressure. And I really hope it happens this time, because like I said, we got faked out last time. There was an opportunity like this. I love the setup. The 4 hours kind of tricky. The hour looks decent. But it's really getting to close this out, and then for the 4 hour extending that. So the 4 hour being extended into that buy pressure session is going to help possibly us close this out, right, and go into buy pressure. So we'll see how that plays out. So Bitcoin looks good heading into Turkey Day tomorrow for everybody in America. So I guess tell your family to buy Bitcoin. No, I'm just kidding. Probably stay away from those conversations, honestly, if you're in this pretty heavy, right? But
yeah,
so that is Bitcoin for you.
People are like, oh, my little investor, right? So that's not what you want. So for sure. And then
not a fun time.
All right, let's get into the roll call. I'm still having issues with
I didn't touch on the bubbles real quick. Let me touch on the bubbles real quick. Yep. And then, Ethereum's definitely going to be, very, very similar to Bitcoin. So we can kind of go over that part. But yeah, just a quick view here of the crypto bubbles. It does look, I don't know what it looks like on your chart, because your chart's a different time, kind of when it ends than the bubbles. But from what I'm seeing here, it looks pretty good for the top 100, right? You're looking at like an 80 to 20. Are you seeing similar, or are you seeing all red on your side for your alts? Pretty sure you're probably seeing something, but you're muted, but that's okay.
Shit. Yeah. I'm seeing everything pretty much red.
Okay, gotcha. So the crypto bubble seems to be a little bit, I guess, ahead of the time of the trading view here, because it is showing an 80% kind of to 20 ratio, green to red, with most of these, having an average of 5 to 8%. Some anomalies, SPX, which is wild, it's up 15%. Some of the privacy bouncing back too, Dash up 15% as well, Starknet too. So overall, I think we're in a good kind of energy, at least for some rebound here. We'll see if it can continue.
Yep. Did I jump in there when you're doing the, or did you ask me a question and I just kind of rolled with
you
it?
did, but I had a pretty
Oh.
long Bitcoin breakdown, and you were probably in your
Gotcha.
mind because you got that ticker in your mind of the time, and so that's probably threw you off a little bit.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. I could have sworn you asked me a question, and then I was like, oh shit, it's time for a roll call, and then but I got you. All right. Yeah, I was distracted by what's happening on. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at Chog, and I'm like sitting at 11 million, and I'm looking at it. I'm just like, fudge, man. But you are seeing NADs pop up, so that's what got me. I was looking over here, and I'm just trying to figure out where I can get money at.
Every single time it will get you, not you, anybody that's like in a position that is kind of back and forth. But hey, cooler heads will prevail.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying, and I think we're gonna do fine.
100%. All right. Let's kind of dig into what is happening. Like I said, does it ever happen to you where your Google Docs doesn't work for a day or two? It happens every now and then.
Oh, just like it loads a white screen or something.
Yeah, and it's been 2 days of this. I might have to clear my cache or something. Okay, but Hydra Sapien, 2 days in a row. Congratulations, you, my friend. Absolutely awesome. WebDro is here. Benji, ASAP Benji is here. Shout out to you, my friend. Bitcoin is truth. Abstract, K99, Chips and Dip. And we got my man Spindrift Crypto. He said, "Are you guys live tomorrow?" No, we are not live tomorrow. We are not. We will be back on Friday though with Jake. So looking forward to that. Vader is here. Satoshi Nakamoto is here. Then we got W Space Pirate Cobra, my man. Appreciate you, my friend. The superfan.fan. Superfan.fun. What the hell is wrong with my brain? Superfan is here. It's just confusing because look at it. It's a superfan.fan. And I'm sitting here like in my head. I'm just
you got DGen brain right now, bro.
I do, bro. I stay away from celeb coins. I said myself. I don't blame you. Stan says Agent Hustle. Yeah, we need a pump on Agent Hustle, man. We gotta talk to Jake, man.
It'll happen.
Pump this thing. Shout out to Stan, Turkey Day, Yippee. Shout out to every single one of you guys, man. I hope you guys have an amazing Thanksgiving as well. But we're just gonna, for the rest of the show, we're just gonna take a look at Monad stuff because this is the only thing that I kind of have left here. But no, I mean we don't have to. I'm just kind of joking around. But
no, yeah, we can get into it.
What do you think, bro? Is it time to? Is Chad going to 30 million? In my head,
I think this is good.
I had 30 million in my brain.
I think this is good for the audience too, because people that dabble in the trenches and play in this meme game or DeFi in the high volatile kind of environments, one of two approaches are taken. Especially if it's a new ecosystem, you're hearing about a launch happening. The first one is you do everything and anything to try to get into that launch or that token, right? And what comes with that? Well, anxiety, also making impulsiveness, making the wrong decisions, making maybe the right decisions. Maybe you made the right decision. Who knows? But a lot of anxiety comes with it. You're constantly focused on that. You can't focus on anything else. And I've been in these situations many times before. And I said, I'm going to take this approach to the Monad ecosystem as saying, hey, look, I'm going to try to prepare myself as much as possible, but I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to try to force any type of situations or positions or anything like that. And so far, it's worked out great for me. Now, has there been moments like this morning whenever you could tell that I'm having anxiety because I missed the Chog launch? And what should I do? For a couple brief moments, I was like, all right, should I sell down my complete position of NADs and get into Chog? And I said, all right, man, whatever I do right now is going to be very impulsive. It's going to, I'm already have a bunch of anxiety about it. Yeah. I'm just going to let Chog do its thing. I'm going to stay in my position. Why I had conviction in NADs in the very, I had conviction early in that one, why I had conviction in it. And it's organic, it was a token that launched, one of the first tokens that launched on the launchpad that no one was talking about. And then, some people started buying into it. It was I think the fourth or fifth one that maybe got bonded. and it started growing a holder count, like a large holder count and a following and a community. And so I think there's two types of winners, like I mentioned earlier, right? I think there's the centralized kind of, hey, look, this token is going to do well. It's part of our community. Chog fits in that bucket. And then I think the other tokens, the CTO tokens, the community takeover tokens do very well as well, right? And so I think you probably need a winner in both buckets. I think those two are the obvious leaders of those two categories right now. And then you have some other, kind of the community ones as well that are behind that. But as for right now, it seems as though, Chog is being pushed up by, whales and by, the project community and all these things. And it looks like they're trying to get that one to be, the highest market cap in the Monad ecosystem when it comes to meme coins.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously Brett, right? This is obviously, a team behind it and, and stuff like that. And, they're having an NFT project that is based on Chog. The NFT, the X handle, his name is Chog NFT, right? So they're going to have, they want to not only be the top meme coin, they want to be the top NFT. That branding of being the top NFT and the top meme coin is something we haven't seen since Pengu, right? With the pudgy penguins and stuff like that. So I
different
just
launch though, different completely.
No, 100%. But this is, in my opinion, a lot more organic than the pudgy penguins, right? Pengu anyway, because it was an airdrop to pudgy holders. This is, you get a whitelist for potentially being the top 10,000 holders, right? And right now there's only 5,000 holders, so potentially down the line you're going to see every one holders potentially having a Chog NFT because they were early day holders or something. So there's that. I mean, I don't know what that thing is, but I just feel like this is a $30 million coin. Like I'm staring at it right now. I'm just telling myself this is a $30 million coin. There's nothing that besides that big dump right there that's going to stop this thing for potentially getting a 30 million. I just feel it. I feel it. I could be completely wrong, but I kind of want this thing to dump like right now.
Yeah, I mean, you do have a team behind it. That's the similarity to something like Pengu. Pengu was, I think, a pre-sale, and obviously launched it separately with a separate contract in Solana. They had way more supply control type of situation, and so the difference is that this Chog launched on a launch pad, which I didn't expect that. I don't think either of us did, because they have a swap on their website. They were trying to do a kind of fair launch, which the way they did it was probably the best, but at the same time, there were snipers in it. Like I remember looking at the sniper percentage, it was pretty high. Maybe it was like, I think 38% or something, 30 something percent, but it was probably the team that did that because they want the allocation for airdrops or whatever is to come. But this is the first hour of this token, right? First hour of this token, it got past 10 million. That was probably like their first hurdle goal. And you're able to do that when you have like a centralized group of people that are trying to make sure you hit these goals, versus something like NADS that wasn't like that. It was something that the ticker was like perfect for nad.fun, perfect for monads. It had the Pepe energy with it. You have the community that started to form around it. And so it's more of the fart coin style of success. This one is more of the dog with hat. Not dog with hat,
like
not dog with hat, because Pengu mixed with dog with hat though, because the reason why I say that is because not even so. Dog with Hat wasn't even launched on Pump Fun. No, I'm saying, like, I'm trying to think of what's something comparable, because Pengu doesn't fit me, because Pengu was a separate contract. It didn't launch on the launchpad. Had Pengu launched on Pump Fun, sure, then it would have been.
I think this is like what Brett did, right? Like, I mean, in the sense of technically,
except for launch, I think Brett probably the closest, except for Brett didn't use a launchpad. I don't think. They did a separate contract.
The launchpad, in my opinion, just kind of shows that it's safe, and launchpads weren't a thing back when Pepe, Brett, and stuff launched, right? But I do think that if they did launch during today's era, they would be on the launchpad, right? Because launchpad, it has everything. It gives you that trust Because I've already gotten 2 honeypots on Monad, right? Not for much money, right? But the same thing. It gives you that you know, and when you go to the site now, forever. I mean, your Chong's gonna be on the top left side when you go to market cap, right?
You keep calling it Chong, bro. It's Chog.
What is it?
Chog.
Chong. Well, think about it though, because there's no e, so it's so it's
Chog. Yeah, no,
Chog.
I get why you're calling it that. I'm just saying, but that's not it.
So what is it? Chog?
Chog.
That's what I said. Chog.
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 For some reason, I was hearing Chong with an N.
No,
Chong.
Chug. I say Chug. That's how you say it, right? Chug. Like I'll emphasize the G for you.
Yeah, you need to round out your vowels. Chog. No, just kidding. But there's a bounce back happening with NADS right now. It's at 1.6 million. 1.6 million. So I think this is the cooler heads prevail type of situation. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I could have easily, or you could.
Do I sell and get into Chog?
Well, I mean, what's the percentage of, you know, like, you know, Chog's at 12 million right now. I mean, look, they're obviously on a goal right here, right? They're a goal to get somewhere. And by the way, all the audience, right, that's listening, and this is obviously very degen activities, but degen activities always happen to kind of kick off a chain. So, you know, don't think of like the dirtiest of dirty pump fund type of situation right now. This is more of like the ecosystem is forming and there's always meme runners, right? But very risky across the board. And if you're new to this type of thing, just know it's really risky and you got to do your own research and all that stuff. But it's fun to talk about and participate from my experience.
For the last year, right, especially when Gary Gensler was still, as you say, our show was mainly fucking macro, and that wasn't on purpose. It was because there wasn't anything like this, right? I mean, I guess we could have talked about pump fund stuff, and maybe that was kind of, maybe we should have. Now looking back at it,
no.
Well, I'm talking about like last September.
Okay,
October.
that's a totally
not
different
like,
story. Yeah,
I'm talking about like 2024, like the late days, right? Not this year. I'm just kind of thinking that, you know, we decided to go very macro, and I think that might have been a problem. That's why I kind of want to bring the show in to finding opportunities in the market that normal people just can't find on their own.
There just wasn't very much though this year, you know. Even let's say that like the problem I would have had if we would have did that with Solana this year is that like everything that we would have like thought was bullish would eventually reverted tremendously. I mean, let's say that like we covered the bonk era whenever they took over the launch pads in Solana, we would have been really bullish on Annie. That token is an AI companion that Grok created named Annie. That token went to 60-70 million, I think close to 100 million. It's sitting at $2 million right now. $1 million. So many people would have got wrecked from it, you know. And I mean, that's the risk that people take whenever they go into that part of, you know, Web3. But when you start off a brand new ecosystem and you see some of these like first winners, they have more probability of sustaining than you know something like Solana and Pump Fund that has been running since February of 2024.
Yeah, no, I completely get it, because we would have talked about stuff like Popcat, and that's why, guys, in 3 months from now, you guys look back at this and, you know, say, oh, you guys talked about NADS and now it's blah 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 blah. Like the whole point of the meme coins is try to make money in the next 3 months, right? I mean, I think if you hold a meme coin longer than 3 months, I think you're really you became a bag holder, right? You're not trading it anymore, and I think meme coins are good for trading. If you want a bag hold Monad, right? Hold tokens that you can sleep at night with. This stuff very risky, but I think it's worth.
But in the very
well,
I think also in the beginning of the ecosystem, right? Let's say that like we go into this risk on environment in, I don't know, January of next year. I think Trillions is going to benefit from that on XPL, because it's still that, you know, established leading meme coin when the chain first started. Now, as you go on with history, the more meme coins that launch, the less chance that they have to have any sustainability at all, and most of them will go to zero. You know, that's just the fact of them. So
100%, I 100% agree. But with Chog, not only I might be holding,
bro, you in love with Chog, man.
No. Hold on. I have a really good point here. So I might not only be holding the top meme coin on the platform, I also might be holding the top NFT on the platform as well. Because of
Yeah, I'm bullish on their NFTs too. If they look like the team ones, you know, the team setup, because they have a puppet style to them, man. I
They
mean,
do.
those to me are puppets, dude. They're Bitcoin
Mhm.
puppets art. So maybe they copied, I don't know, but you know, puppets definitely have a history of being strong when the market's strong. Like they can
Exactly.
pump really hard, right? So I'm actually bullish, probably, you know, more bullish on trying to get one of the NFTs right now because, yeah, look, I mean, I missed the launch, right? It's at 12
Yeah.
million. I missed it, you know, I
We
missed it.
saw it at what, 4 million though when I first brought it, so it says 5 million.
Our show literally 5 minutes before the show started.
Yeah,
So
I
like, what are we
know.
gonna do? Like, that's exactly
Pause
why I
the show.
said,
Next time, dude, we pause the show and we get into the thing here. But now it gives you time to kind of think about it. The more and more, though, I'm not gonna lie, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I want to sell down my nads and buy Chong, or maybe find some. Where can I find more money at? Is anyone hiring? No, I'm just playing. Anyone would just send me money to buy Chong? No, just kidding. But amazing show today, really fun. What's Dan say?
Brian Armstrong is an insider, and with Coinbase recently listing Aster and Binance, is Brian the pathfinder to the bull run?
I think he's always been. And
Yeah.
he is the one he's one of the big reasons why May of 2021 was such a bad sell-off. It was Coinbase did their launch at like the peak hype of crypto, and then the stock like just fumbled the ball there, and it went down like 100%. I'm sorry, like 50% from where it's at IPO'd at. So, and I think that was a big reason why that we had that May dip, because it was like both the things happened at the same time. Coinbase went live, and then Elon Musk went on SNL. It was like two of the biggest sell signals ever imaginable, and we missed that for sure. But we did have that a nice summer, and then the fall was good in 2021, and then if you played in DGen opportunities all the way until January, February, before it really fell apart. So just want to find the opportunities. That's the main goal of the show right now, I think. Right, that's kind of where I'm thinking we take the show, especially going into next year. We base the show around finding opportunities, no matter where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, and they've been very, very few and far in between the past year. But I do feel like this is the first ICO by Coinbase. And by the way, like people that were just upset about Monad's price day one and stuff, they literally just bet against Coinbase and Brian Armstrong. And I would never do that. I would never do that. You think they're going to allow the first ICO launch to be a horrible launch? You know what I mean? They're not going to allow that. And exactly what I thought would happen in terms of the rebound. Now, I wasn't super vocal about it. It's going to rebound, 70% to the upside or anything like that. But I just wasn't going to bet against Coinbase. Like, why would they allow their first ICO to be crappy? Why?
Exactly.
They wouldn't, And so I expect more ICOs from them probably, right? And then, Binance is probably going to try to get competitive as well. And, I know like Spark right now, we don't know what to expect. It wasn't the best experience initially, but there was a lot of interest. I'll say that. And so I'm excited about next week because how awesome it would be to finish the year with two ecosystems simultaneously having success and opportunities in them to finish the year, right? And there's opportunity for that to happen because, like I mentioned earlier on the show, Monad doesn't have an emphasis on marketing to the East, while Spark does. Spark is, they are intentionally going out of their way to market to China and the East while they have a Western audience. And I'll tell you one thing about China and the East, they love Bitcoin ecosystem stuff. If there's an opportunity for them in Bitcoin ecosystem, they're going to jump on it. Now, it might take some time because they're not going to just give all their plays away to the West, right? But, something like Crypto Burger that got to $500 million market cap, and it was a rune, right, on Odin. We could see something crazy like that. So,
no, 100%. I agree. So really looking into what's about to happen, right? I think next Monday we got Spark to kind of look at. Up until Monday, I think nad.fun is the place to be. Just excited. I'm excited about, for the first time in a long time. Honestly, I'm excited about the crypto space.
Yeah, and take a looky here. I mean, you know, looks like that out
What's
the
this?
well,
Bitcoin?
this is Bitcoin. It's almost at to 89. It's at 88,600, right? So that 4 hour that I said, you know, let's extend this. So again, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Looking pretty good right now. Let's take it day by day. Everybody out there, you know, hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow if you celebrate it in the West. But are you eating
Who
a lot of
doesn't
turkey
celebrate
tomorrow?
Thanksgiving? We actually got turkey and ham. Is that normal?
Yeah, I love ham on
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I love
You don't
ham
usually eat
too.
it?
We don't normally make ham, but my daughter wanted it, and I was like, you know, we're just doing the thing at home, so I was just like, let's just grab a ham too. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some cool. I might put it on the grill. Can you put ham on the grill?
I mean, it's already
I'm gonna
cooked.
cook. I'm gonna
So
cook it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
put
So you
some
just
char
heat it
marks
up.
on it and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It's basically char marks, and then you can throw the dressing on it, that little pineapple
That's what I'm
slice if you want.
saying, dude. Yeah, that's
With
what
a
I'm
little
saying.
cherry in the middle.
Well, that's our show, guys. Really appreciate you guys, man. 160 people in here on YouTube and X, not to mention everyone on Kick, Rumble, Zora, Pump Fun, Abstract, Twitch. You guys are absolutely amazing, man. And then obviously Spotify later. So appreciate you guys.
Channel 8, ESPN, Ocho. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we appreciate each and every one of you guys. Hope you guys have a great holiday if you're in the US and you're celebrating that. And also just, you know that we are very grateful because without you guys, we couldn't do the show. That is a fact. And we appreciate all the support. But also without our partners, we couldn't do it. So if you could check them out, we would greatly appreciate that. Emblem Vault is the interoperability layer for the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you are looking to jump your Bitcoin ordinals or Bitcoin NFTs like Rare Pepes and Counterparty NFTs over to Ethereum, you got to use Emblem Vault. Emblem Vault's been doing it since 2021, the NFT craze. They have experience building within the Bitcoin ecosystem and other ecosystems back to like the early 2010s, right? Like 13 and 14. And so their experience is, top notch. But you can actually take a loan out against your Taproot Wizard on the Gandhi application, which is the largest borrowing and lending application in the Ethereum ecosystem. And they're going to open this up to other environments as well. And Solana is one of those environments. And speaking of Solana, they have the best AI product in all of Solana called AgentHustle.ai. If you use Agent Hustle, you can use the free subscription level, which gives you a couple prompts to test it out. So you use that to test it out. If you like it, you just upgrade your subscription level and you get way more tool sets. So I think it's definitely worth it. And if you use the Hustle token, you get a 30% discount if you pay with the Hustle token. And the Hustle token is the one token that powers the entire Emblem ecosystem. But going back to Hustle, ask him, hey, find some top gems for me in the Solana ecosystem. He'll bring back a couple options and why he feels like these are solid. You can also set buy and sell limit orders with Hustle as he has a conditional trading engine built directly in the product, right? So you can, go to the grocery store, go to the gym, whatever you need to do, he'll take care of those orders for you on your behalf. But it doesn't stop with Solana. They integrated Hustle into Hedera Hashgraph, which is amazing. HBAR, they have a partnership with the foundation over there, and they are the main AI agent over there. What does that mean? That means you can use Hustle to find memes that are going to be popping up over there on Meme Job, which is their launch pad over there. You can also ask Hustle to find you some solid utility projects because Hedera has a ton of utility. I mean, Hedera is backed by their, their board of trustees and all that stuff. They have a bunch of big brands that back them. So exciting stuff to use Hustle there. And you can also use Hustle on BSC. So I'm telling you guys, this is going to be the future of a one-stop shop kind of trading terminal, wallet, all that stuff into one, in my opinion. They're adding, Polymarket in there. So you want to definitely check it out. So make sure you go to agenthustle.ai. And then there's also another product that is a part of their ecosystem called migrate.fund, which allows you to migrate from one launchpad to another. So if you launched on Pump Fund, for example, and you want to migrate to Bonk.fund, you got to use migrate.fund. They're the largest third-party migration tool servicer, right? They pretty much set the meta for this. And they've wrapped up their second cohort. They had, big brands in there like Pay AI, and they're in their third cohort. They're about to be, at least. And it's going to be a surprising one. You guys definitely need to, stay updated with them. But if you're interested, reach out to them at migrate.fund or emblem.vision, which is the website that will break down all the products that I just went over as well. And then Merlin Chain is uniting Bitcoin strength through the power of AI. They have their AI tool called the Wizard version 2.0, and it can guide you through Merlin's entire ecosystem, but it also can swap for tokens outside of the ecosystem. All you got to do is have some Merlin Chain Bitcoin in your Merlin Chain wallet. You can swap for Solana tokens or BNB tokens as well. But going back to their ecosystem, it can do DeFi swaps for you on your behalf using Merlin Swap, or it can stake on your behalf as well. And speaking of staking, they have a proof of stake security model, and you can participate in 3 ways. The first way is to stake your Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. Their first staking vault ended September 30th, and they got 17% APR back for their stakers of Bitcoin to earn Bitcoin, right? So amazing product there. And their second staking vault is open right now. It does close January 8th. The staking vaults go for about 3 months, right? But they're always open. So you can get in now, but you only have the days up until January 8th to earn. But they will always open another one up, I believe. We'll get confirmation from Jeff, but they're going to shoot for that same APR as well. It's the minimum of 8%, maximum of 21%. So just know that. And then 2 options to stake with the Merlin Chain token. The first one is a flexible day-to-day. You earn 15% APR. You can claim your rewards daily. You can roll them up into a compound interest strategy. You can sell them, keep them in your wallet, whatever you want to do. That's up to you. But if you do want to withdraw your Merlin Chain token, it does take 7 days for their cooldown period there. And then the last option is the bonded option, the 6-month lockup option for the Merlin Chain token. You earn 45% APR. You can claim your rewards daily, just like on the flexible, but it is locked up for 6 months. So just know that as well. And we thank you guys so much for checking out our partners. Head over to merlinchain.io or follow them on X to get the latest and greatest updates.
Yep. Great job, man. As always, if you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out onchainrevolution.io, we have some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, please send our website. We really feel like we get started and caught up to where we are today. This brand new article just dropped today. Monad Mainnet ecosystem is live. Monad Mainnet is live inside the most anticipated L1 launch since Solana. Wow. That's saying something right there, bro. But shout out to Monad. I think it's the perfect article for today. But we post the articles. It's mainly about what is happening that week. So you potentially could go from week to week to week and really get a good understanding of what's been happening. If you were out for a month, if you weren't really paying attention, our 3 to 4 minute articles are there for you to kind of really get caught up and kind of move forward into next week, right? So definitely check that out there. If you guys need a VPN, I highly recommend NordVPN. I use it every single day. Why use NordVPN? Well, let's use stuff like Hyperliquid, and now with the new options protocol as well over there. But use MEXC as well. MEXC is the best place to swap. I do treat it like a restroom. I'm in, do my business, and I get out. I do not leave anything in there overnight. It's just something. But if you go to Coinbase with like $1,000 and you try to sell it, you're gonna lose like $100. It's insane. But if you go to MEXC, it's like pennies. It really is. When I swap from Bitcoin into Monad, it costs me barely anything. I can put $1,000 in and take out $998 on the way out, and that's with the withdrawal fee and the swap fee. It's absolutely insane. I love it, but you can't use it without a VPN. So get a VPN here, sign up, get everything you need to do. And also, it changes your TikTok. You can put it in Italy. My TikTok is now Italy and stuff like that. So definitely check it out if you're interested. And if you guys need a hardware wallet, we have a deal for you guys, man. Ledger. Do not just stick your stuff just out there, on your hot wallet. It's not smart. Having a Ledger you need one. You need one for sure, especially if you have long-term crypto. This is the best. So there was somebody recently who had XRP, and he had it in, he thought it was a hardware wallet, ended up not being a hardware wallet. It was like a PAL or whatever. And he lost $3 million in XRP. Tough day. But if he had a Ledger and had his XRP in a Ledger, he'd still have it today. Get yourselves a Ledger today and use our link here. It definitely helps the show. But we appreciate you guys. Remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. And until Friday,
peace.
OnChain revolution roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. On-chain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. On-chain revolution.